Hey, Coach. Just curious about your thoughts after the first loss. Obviously, you'd rather have some teaching moments in a win than a loss, but can this be a good thing, a good learning tool for these kids? And I think you're on mute.
There we go. Unmute.
Yep, there you
go. Forever, Chris, in my career, I've often wondered about that. Like a loss is a good thing. I'm not sure that I thought that at 3:00 in the morning on Tuesday into Wednesday, or that Jawan thought it. He said he was up till 6 a.m. The players, when they came in Wednesday, didn't look like they thought that. I don't think that every loss is a losing experience, and I don't think every win is a winning experience. And certainly there were a lot of lessons for us. And at the end of the day, for that 40 minutes, and it's hard to acknowledge, but we lost to a better team. They were just better than us, whether it was the 9 second half offensive rebounds, whether it was, and you'd have to help me with the number. I think we had 9 turnovers in the second half. I know we had 3 at the half, and we had 9. Whether it was the foul shot differential, and that's not about the referees. Our pace in the second half. So we have to learn from it. Certainly, I thought the crowd was spectacular, but we did have some looks that were like, hey, I didn't hear that call. Okay, well, that means that's something that we can grow from. But look, it was almost, not that I've ever been a sprinter in my life. I don't even walk fast, but they walked us down. You know, you hear that term, that they walked us down. And I remember on the bench when they took their first lead in the second half, I thought, this is their first lead in 25 or 26 minutes. But they just kept coming and got spectacular bench production. So, yeah, we have to learn. But this team is learning every day, whether it's terminology, whether it's Jawan's approach to a shoot around, a film session. So this team is, and it's not an excuse. This team is a lot of new guys who are filling very significant roles on a very good team.
Thank you. Coach, you touched on the offensive rebounding against Seton Hall, and that was also a bit of an issue against Buffalo. Is that a concern for you guys, and is it something you're working on in practice?
Absolutely, positively. Like, don't tell anybody that I told you, all right? Since this is a small group, I can tell you. When we went to a secret scrimmage where you're not allowed to put out a lot of information, right? DePaul had 17 offensive rebounds. Buffalo had 17 offensive rebounds. Seton Hall had 9 in the second half. It is an issue, and it is addressed, and it is talked about. And ironically, one of our best sessions of blocking out and competing on the glass probably took place on Monday in practice. We did a really nice job. We have to continue. And one of the, when you come out of a game and your point guard leads you in rebounding, that's a salute to DJ, but it's also our front court guys. And I'm not just pointing a finger, our front court guys, our wings, everybody has to start rebounding outside their area after they block out. We have to make contact, and we will get better in that area. We very much acknowledge it.
Phil, kind of on the subject of the front court, Brandon Johns kind of seems like a guy right now who's not playing with a ton of confidence. There was a lot of passed up shots on Tuesday. What have you guys been doing to kind of help him gain confidence back and get more in an attacking mindset?
A great point, great observation. Any number of things, you know, the Brandon that was in the NCAA tournament last year, the Brandon that took Isaiah Liver's spot, the Brandon that had 20 points in Madison Square Garden 2 years ago. That's the guy that we need. And he very much wants to be that guy. And I do think that there's moments where it's a lack of confidence. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep encouraging him. We're going to show him, make sure that he sees that he becomes a visual learner and that we expect him to take that shot. There was a beautiful moment yesterday in our practice before we left town, and coach showed them a clip, and he pointed that out in front of the whole group. You take that shot. There was a shot where he came down at a trail, and we ended up with him turning and trying to back down from the 3-point line. Our court in that area is Hunter's world. So Brandon has got to take those open shots. I thought he did a good job, not a great job, but a good job. He got on the offensive glass, and he's going to have to be like a great offensive rebounder because so much attention is based on Hunter being so close to the basket. We'll get that guy back. We'll get Brandon back. We'll get him because it's not lack of want to. Right now, it's a lack of that confidence that you spoke about.
Coach Juwan was talking about Hunter not getting the shots in the last 13 minutes of the game. He said he's going to have to watch the film. Did you identify why? And were they taking it away, or did you guys just not do a good enough job of getting him the ball down the stretch?
You know, it was a stretch that if you look at the running game, that's a stretch where we kind of came out. Like we didn't play with enough pace, Chris, to be honest with you, we weren't getting the ball down the floor. We weren't flowing. And you guys all know when you see this team, it's beautiful basketball when it's a flow. When it gets to be in the mud, so to speak, then people can surround Hunter. And again, we made 3 threes, right? We didn't make a 3 until there were 11 minutes left in the game. So the court was very, very compacted. And certainly that was an issue. The calls were the same. The execution maybe was a bit off. We have to improve in that area. We have to become a better screening team. But certainly the calls, we are well aware of where our bread needs to be buttered. And basically for, 28, 29, 30 minutes, he was a stone cold All-American in that game. But we need it for 40, and we need to be talking about it after a win. You know, could he get more touches or does he become a better sharer of the ball, which hasn't been an issue this year. He's doing a really nice job with that.
Coach, could you talk a little bit about Terrence, the work he put in the offseason, and how you've seen it pay off a little bit here in the early going, especially in the Buffalo game, and just, being able to play multiple positions, the value that he brings, after a good offseason?
Well, I think that when we were fortunate enough to recruit Terrence, and people would say, what position is he going to play? I think he's too small to be this, and maybe he doesn't have enough ball skills to be that. And I just kept thinking, yeah, but all this kid has ever done is win. He's a winning basketball player. So the versatility with the mind that Juwan brings to the offensive end of the floor and the defensive end of the floor with Sadie Washington, we would figure that out. And what you've seen in Terrence is that confidence from, I've often said that to be great, you have to be willing to go alone at times. So I'm going to assume that you're close to a 4.0 student. Wouldn't that be accurate? At least that's what you told your parents the last time they asked.
Me?
Did you? Yeah.
I've been out for a couple of years, but yeah.
You told them you were a 4.0 student when you were in school, did you not?
No, but
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
In order to be the 4.0 student, go to the library alone. Do your research alone. And to be a good basketball player, do not fear the empty gym. And Terrence did that all spring, and he did it all summer. And now you're seeing the fruits of of that labor. And he's not a one-way player. It's not like, oh, his 3-point shooting has improved or his drives to the basket have improved. But what he can do is he can guard multiple positions, and he clearly impacts winning. He is I have actually had a conversation with him today that he is a captain in waiting in this program, and he is going to have a major impact the rest of this year. He's going to have a major impact tomorrow night. He's going to have a major impact the rest of this year. And the results are going to be a lot of wins because Terrence Williams is on your team.
And real quick, Jawan said after the Buffalo game that, like, that's toughness. That's Terrence Williams. Like, is that something you can identify when you're recruiting? Toughness, grit, and I guess how do you go about doing that?
That's another great question. It's it is a trait that you can see, and like, if you take it a step beyond, like what we're watching in the springs and the summers for recruiting, I'd take it even a step further to say the toughness to do things that other players wouldn't do, but also the grittiness to do it because it'll help your team win. That's really what you can identify that. There's a lot of dudes that are out there playing and they're very gifted, but they're out there playing. You have to cross a barrier to be out there playing to win. That's Terrence. That's always been Terrence. I was fortunate enough to see him when he was in the 9th grade. Extraordinarily well coached at Gonzaga by Steve Turner, who was at the Prairie View game. I bumped into him in the hallway after the game. It was delightful to see him. And then obviously playing at the highest level in summer basketball with Team Takeover. So that's, I think, like if you're watching a game, and I'm not saying like this is scientific or anything, but all of a sudden a guy sets a great screen. Well, that's not a normal activity in the summer or the spring. Or the guy hits a block out, or he talks on defense. Those are all the toughness factors that you can measure, and as long as you're there. Did I lose everybody? Oh, as long as you're there, not just walking out and saying, man, that kid, he had 13 or he had 23, or did his team win and did he impact winning? And that's the toughness and the grit that Terrence has.
Thanks.
Phil, to piggyback off of guys that can impact winning, I know the other night the offense wasn't really there for Caleb, but I think he's shown an ability to move the basketball, pass the basketball really well, and obviously get after it on the defensive end of the floor. What have you seen from him, and how does he compare to other freshmen that you've maybe coached in the past?
We're losing for a minute.
Okay, I'm back. Caleb obviously has this stroke that is just beautiful, and he has range. And just on the shooting side of it, I pulled him aside yesterday, and not that this was genius. This wasn't John Wooden-like or anything like that. I just said, you were 1 for 9. So do you know what that means? And he looked at me, and his feelings were hurt, obviously. And I said, there's a game where you're going to be 8 for 9. Somebody pays. When you're as gifted as you are and you work at your craft the way that you do, somewhere along the line, someone will pay. So before you even think about it, we all expect you to take that first shot against UNLV. Whenever it presents itself, you are to shoot the ball. And if it goes in, that's really not that important. It's the next shot that becomes important. He has a terrific work ethic, as do all the freshmen. I know Juwan has talked about that. They're always in there getting extra shots up, and some of it is really like unusual times. They'll get up at 6:30 in the morning to get their extra shots up. So one, it's a work ethic that he has. 2 is he has a basketball IQ that is very, very high level. Now playing on the the international scene and also playing at Mount Verde have kind of brought him to the right place. He's like now trying to get that master's degree in basketball and being with Sadi for his position work and being with Howard Isley for his offensive work. Where can he go and how does he measure up? I remember having a conversation with somebody in the summer and I said, somebody go back and look at Franz's numbers as a freshman. If we can get those numbers from Caleb, then he's going to be, the freshman of the year in the Big Ten. And you're going to be, again, surrounded by an extraordinary young talent. I don't see any reason that he can't get to those numbers. And at the same point, Franz not great off a ball screen, but a spectacular passer. I think that's what you have with Caleb. And I just think that stroke should be canned and admired for a very long time because it is a beautiful, beautiful release.
Anybody have anything else for Coach? Okay,
I
Phil.
do. Coach, there's been some angst about Devante. How confident are you? How confident are you that Devante is going to learn from that experience as well, and that he's the guy going forward that's going to take you to heights at that point guard position?
Extraordinarily confident. I think now we are going back and looking. Like one of the little wrinkles I saw somewhere where maybe in his 80 games at Coastal, 40 plus, he had more than 3 fouls. We have to find out what is that all about without getting him mental. Like I don't want him out there being thinking he's got to be overly cautious. I think his rebounding is extraordinary. We have to stay on and stay with him in terms of pace. But yeah, we're in great shape at that position with Devante Jones.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys?
Real quick,
Okay,
have you seen any of Franz's NBA highlights, Coach?
You know what? I haven't, but you know what? I hope he's watching this, but I just got a call from my daughter who is a fanatical fan. And I have a granddaughter who is absolutely positively enamored with Franz. And my daughter just called me an hour ago and she said, Franz is going to be in Philadelphia in 2 weeks. Do you think that you can get him to say, well, that's easy. Him saying hello, like that kid is pure gold as a human being. So saying hello is nothing, but so I did go on. I just probably 20 minutes ago was looking at the stats and going 13.9 and 4.8 and 1.9 assists. And, he has 2 wins in the Garden. Pretty big deal, right?
Yeah.
With the Knicks to have beaten the Knicks. So special guy, just a special guy.
He's dunking on people. Look it up. He's got 2 that got more eats off the bench. So you're gonna have to check it out.
All right, I'll check it.
Okay, Coach, we appreciate it. Have
you.
a great rest of your evening.
Hey, Chris.
And,
hey, Tom.
yeah.
Just everybody out there, and I know with students and everything like that, and I know it's a big travel week coming up, so I hope that everybody travels safely and can enjoy some family time, particularly after Wednesday night. We want to have a big turnout after we get these 2 wins in Vegas and get a win Wednesday night. But everybody be safe for this Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanks, Coach. You too.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks,
Thank
Phil.
you. All right now.